Good afternoon, singers. We want to work a little bit more on high notes. That seems to be what you're all interested in. From the emails I get, that seems to be what everybody wants. And I understand that because it is quite a question. And high notes are, after all, something that the audience enjoys very much, and you may even get a lot of your acclaim by great high notes. Certainly that was the case with Corelli for tenor, and that was the case with Warren as a baritone. So the high notes are important, there's no doubt about that. They're thrilling, they're wonderful, and if you have control over them, they can be a great tool in how you make and shape the character. So I want to look today with some exercises for you on using consonants in a particular way to help the vowel. And I think I need, no, it's okay. It looks like it's working all right. I've got my camera mounted over there and wanted to make sure it was picking up me and not my cat, although she's beautiful, but she doesn't know much about high notes. Her meows are not very good. So, especially in vocalizing, there's a certain way of using certain consonants that will help you to build resonance in the head voice. Now, those same techniques, which we're going to do here in vocalizing, can be used during performance of the piece in the same way. So, as you're approaching that penultimate high note, and you're singing the prologue, and you're about to go al pari di, and you know the word voi is coming up there, and you wonder how in the world you're going to get through that v and then come out with a high A flat. And so you think of the consonant as a problem. Try something you really wish wasn't there. Now, on the other hand, you might have a nasal consonant like an M or an N, or even a velar nasal before a vowel, and you might find out that the nasal consonant seems to help. After all, we do have this caricature of an opera singer vocalizing by going me, 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 me. Is there anything to that? Well, there's nothing to it if you try to use the nasality of the M to place the vowel following it. That will just make your vowels nasal. That's not what you want to do. So whatever it is that the nasal vowel does to help the vowel, it is not impart nasality. Okay, can we get that? Make that stick. But nasal consonants have formants, just like vowels. And for the M, for example, the formants are very high. And if you use the nasal consonant before a vowel and can realize and exercise that the vocal tract shaping for the vowel is precisely the opposite of what you feel in the nasal bilabial consonant M. For M, the mouth is closed, the lips are closed, the velum is down so that the sound is going into the nose. The tongue is not doing very much. The throat is closed. The larynx is high. All of these are the opposite of the conditions you want for singing. So if you realize that, and you sing that M, and then you snap to the position of the opposite, so all of a sudden the velum closes. All of a sudden the tongue takes the position of the vowel. All of a sudden the larynx drops and the ventricle inside of it opens up and the base of the pharynx is broadened. All of a sudden that happens, and bang, it produces a singer's format which is at a similar frequency to the high frequency format of the nasal bilabial hum. So the nasal bilabial hum, you could say maybe it acted sort of like a pilot wave to guide the vowel where you wanted it. So there we are on a C to G scale. If we do that with a bilabial hum first and then open to the vowel, let's see if it helps. So the bilabial hum was absolutely the opposite of the vowel, but the vowel was right on the money. Now if you put the M in there with it, then it appears that the M is very, very short, and the vowel takes up almost all the time. So in singing, if you have, if there's a nasal consonant before a vowel, don't try to elongate the consonant. That'll kill you. Let the vowel have its natural longevity, and do not try to match it to the feeling of the nasal consonant. Instead, in your rehearsal, get this feeling of opposites. Instead of that, which would be matching the vowel to the nasal, do the opposite. And then the sound is balanced, forthright. It's ben appoggiata. Some consonants are better than others. Certain plosive consonants can be used to help you to balance the onset just right. P's are good for that. And a rolled R is good for that too. So there we have all these characteristics of Italian that are useful in a balanced vocal production. There I just used a plosive P with a rolled R to make that beginning tone and that succession of tones ben appoggiata. Now, it's not essential. I can do it without that, but we do sing consonants and vowels in the process of performing, and we do need to understand the relationship. No one yet ever won an award for a beautiful consonant. Okay? So the vowel carries all of the beauty. The vowel carries all of the emotion. The vowel carries all of the feeling. The vowel carries all of the resonance. So the consonants are there to make words, but we need to give them as little time as possible. Italian is great for that because it's a vowel-dominant language. And so, here the plosive P and the rolled R has given you a little help in making that nice appoggio series of tones. Some consonants are harder than others. When we have double consonants, if they're stopped consonants, like tafretta, you've got two F's, two T's. So there has the affretta, the F's have to be doubled, so you have to put more fricative to double the F. The T has to be doubled, and to double the T, the tip of the tongue must be up at the top of the alveolar ridge, and you must stop the breath and then let it go again to continue. So it's a hard maneuver to do without robbing time from the vowel. But you can do it, and you have to do it. Amateurs will usually give you too much consonant because they're trying their best to get a good grade from their teacher, who told them to give her, I want to hear those double consonants, evviva. Okay. Well, you do have to double the consonant, but you have to double it as little as possible, unless it's for some effect. These semi-voiced consonants, like v and voy. So there you've got the lips working there. The lips have to vibrate to give you that consonant. It takes breath to do that, which is then taken away from the vowel. So it's a little bit of a bugger of a vowel to balance right. I knew one teacher in this city. He's gone now. Requiem aeterna. I don't mean to be silly, but he was such a bad teacher that I'm glad he's not here anymore, because his entire pedagogy consisted of having the singer vocalize extreme ends of the range using only the z sound as the balancer for the vowel. So instead of v, he would use z. Sigh, 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 sigh. And he would carry the whole voice through that. Sigh, 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 sigh. And think, oh, how balanced that is. Well, it's not, of course. It's anything but balanced. The energy of so much air going into the Z has robbed so much of the tracheal pull of the original breath that the larynx cannot take its low seat, which means the side wall tissues at the base of the pharynx are not expanded. It means the ventricle of Morgagni in the larynx is not open to make an extra cavity resonance. It's the worst vowel you could have chosen. And the V in V is almost as bad because of that same characteristic. The more air you have to use for the consonant, the less impact you will get from the original inhalation, which gives all of you the support for singing and the power of singing. So the poor hapless baritone, here he is approaching the end of the prologue with fear and trepidation. Oh, will he hit the A flat today, or will it crack? And he goes, all party di vai. And then his feelings are so hurt because he couldn't hit it. When the problem was all along the approach that he was taking and the fearfulness that he had. I guarantee you, if you're afraid your high notes are going to break, they will. It's confidence that you have to build up in teaching, in practicing on your own, and in performance to a certain extent. You must build up confidence. It's only in confidence that you can see your approach and your way through these classically difficult passages. If you're thinking about breaking on a high C on Alarmi, you'll break. You know, I never heard Jimmy McCracken break once on a high C. Some of them may not have had the most beautiful timbre you might wish, but he never broke. And Pavarotti broke so many high Cs in Parma that they forbade him to go there and sing anymore. They threw tomatoes at him when he would get out there. So whatever the poor hapless baritone does, his insecurity is the main problem. He hasn't practiced the ending of the song enough to figure out how the consonants and words balance together. First of all, that is the end of a long arching phrase. Let's see where to begin here. Let's just see.
E voi piuttosto che le nostre povere gabbane.
Now those are all relatively easy phrases, but now comes up the big one where you have to hold that E flat.
Le nostre anime considera.
Now that takes a lot of energy to do those E flats. I'm not doing them very well right now because I don't have any air. So then you get,
Poiché siamo uomini.
and that's taking quite a bit of air to do that. And so you're already a little down, but then you have this little feature.
Che di,
What are you going to do now?
che di questor.
How are you going to handle that little phrase? Are you going to do that gently, or are you going to just sort of blast it? Because one thing is for sure, the quality of breath that you take after mondo is going to determine how you get through the end. Because here you are now.
All pari, divine.
Now, what did I do there that guaranteed that I was going to hit it? Well, I tightened the E vowel on voi, on D rather, al pari D. I tightened that E vowel to give my larynx a message that I was going to be requesting a lot more medial compression for the next note, the high note, the A flat. And therefore the larynx was ready for it. So many people have the wrong idea that they should relax the voice before they get to the high E flat. That'll just kill you.
All pari, divine.
You know, it's not going to work out too good. But if you energize the voice right from the beginning of it with a nice, firm, well-placed vowel,
All pari, divine.
then it's always going to be there. It's not going to break on you. So there you see, the V, we did not allow it to cause us any trouble because we focused on giving a tight E on D. And therefore, the V was very short and did not interfere with the vowel. If we had tried to make the V on voi long, we would have chopped ourselves off at the knees. Now, liquid consonants can be useful. Say, for example, you're the tenor and you've got this allarmi to do at the end of di quella pira. In my prime, I could do those high Cs. In fact, I recorded di quella pira YouTube. So the liquid consonants hold tone better, and you can sing a little bit on them. So if you give them a little more length, it won't hurt the voice.
La,
Huh.
la, 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 la.
You still want it to be basically short, but since you can start the tone on them, it's not so difficult to conceive of tone coming after them. If the phrase was al pari di lui, there'd be no problem with it. Everybody would make that if they had an A flat.
All party,
No big deal. What's all of the big deal? See, so the liquid consonant gets you started with the tone, and as a little way of helping yourself, I suggest that you do this in practice, not with your coach, not with anybody but yourself, that on these difficult high notes where you fear the approach, substitute the difficult consonant that it has for a very easy consonant. Sing al pari di lui for quite a while until you get a sense of confidence that you can make that note. And then try taking off the L and making the V as feeling as unimportant or as small duration as possible. You cannot give a long V and have the same tone that you get out of the L. So don't try to do that. But use this ease that lui gives you
all party, la,
to see if you can bring that over to
all party, la.
Now you see, you scarcely could even tell that that was a V that I put over that. But that's acceptable in bel canto. Bel canto is not diction singing, and yet it demands parole, 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 but not parole in the sense of being a diction singer and having the most effective usage. No, you'll just look nuts if you do that. And people that we call, is a diction singer. That's a term of opprobrium. That's an insult to call somebody a diction singer. It means they have no voice, and so they're just going to concentrate on spitting out words. Bel canto was based on beautiful vowels. The vowels form the beauty of the canto, the beauty of the song. And yet they had the dictum, a cantare come si parla, to sing as one speaks. What did they mean by that? They meant by that something that these speech level singers, speech level teachers do not mean. A cantare come si parla means that the position on the jaw and the mouth and the lips vary for each vowel just as they do in speaking. In speaking, there's not one position for the jaw and the lips. And in singing, there's not one position for the jaw and the lips. You see, even back then, they knew of crazy teachers who would try to make one position for all the vowels. There's a teacher in this city who takes a pencil and puts it between the teeth of the singer and makes them sing all the vowels biting on that pencil.
Yeah.
your ear alone should tell you that that's nuts. Okay. So the E didn't sound too bad, but any vowel that needs a wider jaw space sounded terrible. So a cantare come si parla means to respect the posizione of the jaw and the lips for the vowel. It does not mean to be a diction singer. So that solved the problem without a pas de voix. Now, I'm a baritone, so I'm using mostly baritone illustrations. Another great baritone aria, Di Provenza. Di Provenza, very difficult baritone aria because of the tessitura requirements. That's a tough line to carry well.
Dio me saudi, Dio me saudi.
I barely have enough breath these days to do that. But you see, that's a tough tessitura to keep balanced. And you have two verses of that, and the last time you do it is the hardest. Oh, no, well, that was the last time. Dio me saudi, Dio me saudi. But right after that now,
Dio me saudi, Dio me saudi.
now all of a sudden you have to sing a high G flat, which seems like it's as high as an A flat when after you've sung your guts out for two verses of Di Provenza. You've got to sing Ma on that high G flat. And Verdi even cruelly wrote it for you to sing it twice. Nobody in their right mind sings it twice. Maybe for a recording, but not in performance. So now you've got a trouble. You've got an M, Ma, and what in the world are you going to do with that nasal consonant M? Well, as we were talking before, you can use it either to help or to hurt. If you use the M so much, so long, that it makes the vowel follow it into the nose, you're dead. If you use the M just a tiny bit, just enough to sing M, and then snap the vocal tract to the very opposite of what the M was, then it can help you.
Ah!
Is that right? That was a J. Cut that out in the editing.
Ma, ma, ma.
Okay? So then the M is not a big deal. It's not very long. Reminded me of that flub reminded me of a time when my friend Jerry Hines was doing Zoroastro at the Met, and he did Zoroastro at the Met more than any other singer, and he always was afraid that his low notes were not good enough. And there's a passage when Zoroastro comes in at the first act, and he tells Pamina that he won't let her go, and he has to sing a low F. But yet I will not let you go. And Jerry was always self-conscious about that low F. He was always afraid of it. So one performance in 1970, he must have really got up his courage and all of his gumption, and he was determined he was going to sing as low a note as he could. So here came Ma, and he sang a whole half step flat because he was so insecure about the F. Obviously, he didn't need to be insecure. And you don't need to be insecure about that Ma either.
Oh, se fin ti trovo ancor, ti trovo ancor.
Then you have Dio me saudi coming up again, on an F, but it is an E vowel. And how you approach that, you may feel tired at that point.
Yeah.
See, what is it? That's it. A flat G. So you have to figure out what you have the ability to do there. Do you have to just brush through it?
Dio me saudai.
Well, that's okay. And if that's all you can do at that moment, that's perfectly fine. But if you have the breath for it, you can caress into that and maybe crescendo on it and decrescendo even. Depends on how much breath you have and how good you are using breath. I have almost no breath left because of a lung injury, and therefore I can't sing anymore. Even to sing a phrase is difficult for me. But you can practice this little Dio me saudi until you can figure out what is available to you. I would suggest, and this is the way I did it when I was singing in my prime, I would suggest that you approach it a little on the piano side.
Dio me saudi.
And then, if you have the breath, like I don't right now, swell on it until you come up to the forte level. You don't have to decrescendo back again. That's asking too much. But start a little on the piano side and crescendo up to forte and cut it off there. And you still have the rest of the closing line to make your final impression. So those are my little tips on that particular high note and the usage of consonants to help you or to hurt you. Every aria will have some point of difficulty where the consonant is either going to hurt or help the vowel. It's up to you to find that out. Find how you can make the consonants help you and not hurt you. The idea is to sing with vowel dominance, like the Italian language. So the vowels are very long, the consonants are very short, and sung ben appoggiata, that's what gives the impression, the illusione, of legato, the feeling, the illusion that all sound is tied together. And that is probably the most expressive and beautiful thing you can do in bel canto, is to sing legato beautifully. And I wish you fair vocalizing and great high notes and good habits on your way. Bye for now.